Your phone rings at 11:14 on a Tuesday morning, and the number is one you don't recognize, and you answer it the way you answer all numbers you don't recognize, which is with the mild irritation of a man who is in the middle of something and is being interrupted by what is probably a telemarketer. It is not a telemarketer. The voice is calm. This is the first thing you notice. Not aggressive, not theatrical, not performing the menace that movies have taught you to expect from this kind of call. Calm in the specific way of a man who makes calls like this regularly, and who has learned that calm is more effective than aggression because aggression produces panic, and panic produces decisions that complicate the transaction, and the transaction is what he is here to complete. He says your name, your full name, your business name, your address. The address of the business and the address of the house, which are different addresses, which means someone has done the work of finding both. Then he says, we need to have a conversation about your arrangement with us. You are standing in the back of your tortilleria in Zamora, Michoacan. You have owned this tortilleria for 11 years. You inherited it from your father, who built it from a single comal and a dream that his son has been maintaining for 11 years with the specific devotion of a man who understands that the thing he is maintaining is not just a business but a relationship with his father's effort and his family's history, and the specific dignity of a man who makes something people eat every day. You make good tortillas. This is not a small thing. Around 20,000 tortilla shops, 15% of the market, are under constant extortion pressure and pay weekly tribute to the cartels. Vision of humanity. You have known this in the abstract, the way you know things that happen to other people in other neighborhoods in other towns and that constitute the background reality of living in Michoacan without yet constituting your specific daily reality. You read the news, you hear the conversations, you know that the Cobro de Piso exists the way you know that car accidents exist, as a statistical reality that other people are inside. Now you are inside it. The voice says, we're going to need 3,000 pesos a week, every Friday. A man will come to the shop, you give him an envelope. We don't cause each other problems. 3,000 pesos a week? Protection rackets known locally as Cobros de Piso extort workers, small shopkeepers, farmers, and truck drivers out of an estimated $1.1 billion per year. Al Jazeera, your specific 3,000 pesos is one data point in that number. Multiplied across 20,000 tortilla shops, and the restaurants, and the hardware stores, and the pharmacies, and the beauty salons, and the small manufacturers, and the truck drivers and the farmers, the number becomes the abstraction. For you right now, it is 3,000 pesos a week, which is 12,000 a month, which is 144,000 pesos a year, which is the specific difference between a year that works and a year that doesn't, because your margins are not large enough to absorb. 144,000 pesos a year without restructuring everything else. You say nothing for a moment. The voice says, I know you need to think. You have until Thursday. The man comes Friday. If the envelope isn't ready Friday, we have a different conversation. The call ends. It lasted 4 minutes and 11 seconds. You know this because you look at your phone after, and the call timer is still on the screen, and you stare at it for a long time before you put the phone in your pocket. You go back to the comal. The masa needs turning. The tortillas need turning. The shop opens in 40 minutes, and there are orders for 3 restaurants and a school cafeteria that need to be ready by noon, and the work proceeds because the work is what your body knows how to do when your mind is somewhere else. You work through the morning on automatic pilot, which is the specific condition of a person whose hands know a task so completely that the task runs without supervision while the mind processes something entirely different. Your hands make tortillas. Your mind sits in the 4 minutes and 11 seconds and turns them the way you're turning the masa, looking for the angle, the soft spot, the place where the shape changes. The options present themselves the way options present themselves in situations with no good choices. You have seen this calculus play out around you for years without being inside it, and now you are inside it. And what you discover is that the calculus is both simpler and more expensive than it looked from the outside. You pay. This is option 1. 3,000 pesos every Friday. The envelope, the man, the arrangement. Most victims, fearing for their lives, choose to pay up and stay silent. Vision of humanity. The paying buys what it buys. The continued operation of the shop without the specific consequences that the different conversation implies. The paying is what the majority of businesses in your situation do, because the majority of businesses in your situation have correctly calculated that the alternative costs more. You factor it into your prices. You raise the tortilla price by 1 peso. The customers complain briefly and then accept because tortillas are not discretionary in Michoacan, and 1 peso is not the thing that breaks a household. The extortion becomes a cost that you pass along to the people who buy from you who don't know they are paying it. You refuse. This is option 2. You say no, you go to the police. You file a report, you become the man who didn't pay. Any attempt to resist risks arson, kidnapping, or murder. Vision of humanity. You know this not from statistics, but from the specific memory of a tortilla shop 2 neighborhoods over, 8 months ago, that burned on a Tuesday night for reasons that the police report called undetermined origin, and that the neighborhood understood immediately. You know it from the leader of lime growers in Michoacan, who was killed after repeatedly denouncing criminal groups' extortion demands. Al Jazeera, a man who made noise about the Cobra, was silenced, with the specific permanence that the organization uses to communicate to everyone else that making noise has a fixed price. Going to the police is option 2, and option 2 requires understanding what the police in Zamora are and what they aren't. They are men in uniforms who answer to a chain of command that has been partially infiltrated by the same organization that just called you. They are men who are also receiving calls, who have also done the arithmetic, who are also managing their position inside a system that rewards compliance and punishes resistance with the same mechanism it uses on tortilla shop owners. The police report creates a document. The document creates a record. The record tells the organization that you created a document, and the document creates the different conversation. You leave. This is option 3. You sell the shop. You move somewhere that the organization's network doesn't extend. The difficulty with option 3 is that the organization's network extends further than any destination you can reach by selling the shop and moving. In 2004, the national homicide rate was 23.3 per 100,000 people, with many of these deaths linked to organized crime. Vision of humanity. The violence is not concentrated in a single geography you can escape. It is distributed across the country in the specific way that a parallel state distributes its presence. Everywhere the formal state is weak, which is most places, and in many places where the formal state is nominally strong but practically permeable. You also cannot sell the shop for what it is worth in 48 hours, and what it is worth in 48 hours is less than what it is worth in any normal calculation, because the thing that is happening to you is happening to every tortilla shop in Zamora, and the buyers know. It and the price they offer reflects what they know. You call your wife from the back of the shop during the lunch lull. She is a school teacher. She teaches 3rd grade at the primary school 4 blocks from your house. She is in all the ways that matter for this conversation. A woman whose entire professional life has been spent trying to give children the specific foundation that her husband's profession is now being made to subsidize for an organization that provides nothing in return except the continued permission to exist. You tell her about the call. You tell her about the number and the voice and the 4 minutes and 11 seconds and the 3,000 pesos and Friday. She listens the way she listens to things that matter, completely, without interrupting, with a specific quality of attention that means she is building a full picture rather than waiting for a place to respond. She says, "What do you want to do?" Not "What are you going to do?" What do you want to do? The distinction is the one she always makes, between the world's pressure on a decision and the person inside the decision. She is a good woman, and she is asking the right question, and the right question's answer is, "I want none of this to be happening." But wanting and having are not the same country, and you are standing in the one you're standing in. You tell her you're going to pay. She is quiet for a moment. She says, "Okay." The okay contains everything it contains. The grief of a decision that has no version that feels acceptable, the pragmatism of 2 people who have a mortgage and 2 children in school and a business that took 11 years to build and that cannot be rebuilt somewhere else, the specific intimacy of a couple who have navigated hard things